Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside Pheno Field here in Milford, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call. I'll be joined by Neelan Reisman in just a little bit as we get ready to continue on in our 2018 spring sports coverage. Game number 2 that we've had a chance to witness for this Milford baseball team as the Scarlet Hawks get set to welcome in the Attleboro Bombardiers in this Davenport versus Kelley-Rex matchup. In Hockomock League Baseball, Milford comes into the matchup. The record not necessarily indicative of how Milford has played this season. They do come in overall on the year at 1-7, so certainly not the record that Milford baseball fans would like to see at this point in the year. They currently are tied for 5th place in the Davenport standings, 1-7 overall, 1-5 within league play. They take on an Attleboro team that's had a bit of an up and down season so far, coming in overall on the year at 3-4. They are 3-3 within their league play, currently tied for 4th place out of the 6 teams in the Kelley-Rex division. But again, as we mentioned for Milford, it's been a struggle in terms of wins and losses this year, but if you really break down their win-loss record so far on the season, they have been in virtually every game, with the exception of the last game they played earlier this week that actually came just 24 hours ago, a 16-1 Mercy Rule loss to Oliver Ames, just completely outclassed by the Oliver Ames Tigers on the road yesterday, so looking to turn the page from a difficult loss there. Outside of that, the previous game Milford played was all the way back on April 23rd. It was a very tough weather week last week to try to get games in, but Milford did enjoy their first win of the season back on the 23rd, an 11-2 victory. The Bats really breaking out against the Foxborough Warriors that broke the team out of an early 6-game losing streak out of the chute. But again, just quickly looking at that win-loss total, or those losses I should say, in that 6-game stretch to open the year, 3 straight one-run losses as part of that 6-game losing streak to open the year. Again, the wins have not been there at the end of the day for Milford, but they have put up a solid effort in each and every one of the games that they have played. And as I talked to Coach Dion before this game started, he is confident that this team is really going to start to show something. And the good news for Milford is it has been a bit of a transition year for a lot of teams in the Hockomock League. So even though Milford stands at 1-7, there is only one other team right now in the Davenport division that is over 500. That is North Attleboro, who has come out very strong this year. They have a senior-heavy team, a very talented team. They are 6-0. Outside of that, everybody else is under 500 in the Davenport right now. So if Milford can string some wins together, they can quickly move up in the standings. So there is still time. We are not even quite at the halfway point of the season yet. It should be an excellent environment for baseball, and we expect a very good game here to take place as the two teams conclude their warm-ups. It is the Milford Scarlet Hawks taking on the Attleboro Bombardiers. Neelan Reisman will join me on the call as we have the starting lineups and the game's first pitch for you when we come back next here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. And back inside Pheno Field, getting ready for baseball now as the Scarlet Hawks have taken the field, moments away from getting this game started against the Attleboro Bombardiers. So before we see the first pitch, let's bring you today's starting lineups. First for the visiting Bombardiers. Leading it off is the right fielder Sam Larkin. Corey McKenna bats second and plays second, with Alvaro Espinal, the center fielder, batting third. John Candialis is the shortstop, batting cleanup, with Troy Van Villay, the first baseman, batting fifth. Dakoba Kirby catches and bats sixth, with James Weir, the left fielder, batting seventh. It's Gavin Wildrick, the DH, batting eighth, and in the ninth spot is the third baseman, Jason Weir. And for the Scarlet Hawks, their lineup looks like this. Matt Shaver leads it off at short, with Colby Pyers playing third base and batting second. Aiden Wild is your first baseman, batting third, with Tyler Almeida catching and batting fourth. Matt Nickerson plays left field and bats fifth, with Luke Rosa, today's starting pitcher, batting sixth. Justin Appleby plays second base and bats seventh, with Matt Swanson, the DH, batting eighth. And batting ninth, playing center field, is Nick Marcolini. Flexed out of the lineup for Milford and only playing defensively is Sam Naylor. He gets the start in right field. So your pitching matchup is Luke Rosa for Milford on the mound, concluding his warm-up tosses. He will be opposed on the Attleboro side by Ian Hamill-Kelleher, who will take the mound in the bottom half of this first inning, but just about set to go. And Neelan, just about a picture-perfect day for baseball. A lot different than the game you experienced back in early April.
Oh yeah, it's about double the temperature that's going on. It was about 45 degrees the last time we were there, a little bit chilly, a lot of wind, and I don't think I had feeling in my hands by the time the game was over.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of those early spring games, but we have certainly flipped the script here in terms of temperature. The official game time temperature here as we're about to get started in Milford, 89 degrees. We did expect the temperatures to creep up into the 80s today. I don't think that we expected to come close to 90 degrees, but that's where we're at right now, 89 degrees, bright sunshine overhead, not too many clouds, a hazy sunshine overhead As we see the first Attleboro batter step into the box on the right side, it is Sam Larkin. And about to see our first pitch here from Pheno Field as the righty Rosa delivers. And it hits right over the middle for a called strike one. I'd like to welcome in all of our viewers tuned into our live streaming coverage this afternoon. The 0-1 pitch is grounded foul off to the left. And the count goes to 0-2 on Sam Larkin, the starting right fielder. Larkin will be followed by Corey McKenna and Alvaro Espinal here in the first. Rosa a long look in to Almeida for the sign. Now the pitch. And off the end of the bat, that one is sent foul, and that heads over the closed up concession stand off towards the parking lot. The concession's not quite operational at this time of the year. Still an 0-2 count as Rosa delivers, and this one is hit in the air out to center field, and his tracks at first was Marcolini, now settles underneath and is able to haul it in for out number one. Defensively for the Scarlet Hawks, it is Tyler Almeida behind the plate, Colby Pyers at third, Matt Shaver at short, Justin Appleby at second, and Aiden Wild at first. Left to right in the outfield, Matt Nickerson, Nick Marcolini, and Sam Naylor. Now Corey McKenna at the dish, and he takes one in the dirt for ball one.
It was a very consistent pitcher. Always seems to find the strike zone a lot more often than a lot of people think.
This is low with another one here, so he falls behind McKenna by a count of 2-0. Milford continuing to look to gain experience on the pitcher's mound, not having the services of any of their starting pitchers from a year ago. As Rose is able to fire in strike one, bringing the count to 2-1. You think back to last year, Alex Masick so steady leading that pitching staff. You also had Nate Irwin and Aiden Wild serving as starters for the team last year, as the count now goes to 3 balls into strike. It's certainly difficult, Nealon, to be able to essentially rebuild your pitching staff on the fly. A lot of guys just looking to get experience here early on in the season.
Well, definitely early on in the season, Dion's doing a good job trying to figure out how to manage the pitching staff, trying to figure out who can step on the mound, what do they need to do, what kind of valuables, and what do they possess. And it's not so much how far and how long you can pitch, but more of what can you get done on the mound that's going to help us win.
Ground ball hit sharply to third base, snagged on the backhand, long throw across the infield, and it gets there in time. Very nice play by Colby Pyers behind the third base bag, snagged that one on the backhand, able to set his feet. And one thing Pyers has demonstrated all year long, whether it was on the football field or now here on the baseball diamond, is a very quick and accurate arm, and he needed it there, getting that one sort of off balance in the air to Aiden Wild at first base to get the out. Very nice play. 2 up and 2 down in the first inning, and now a pitch right on the black on the outside part of the plate into the lefty Espinal for a called strike one.
Rosa really using the inside and down low on the pitch count.
Here's the 0-1. Too far outside that time, and the count evens. Attleboro winning 3 of their first 4 to start the year, but coming in on a losing streak here today, as that one is sent foul. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and the base is empty.
Rosa looking for a 1-2-3 inning right about now.
Has a chance to get it on this next pitch. Nods his approval to the sign. Here is the 1-2. And that one in the dirt, blocked in front by Almeida. And it goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Attleboro coming in with losses against Franklin, Bishop Thean, and North Attleboro in their last 3. Here is the 2-2, and it's swung on and missed. Espinal chases a high fastball, and a very promising start for Luke Rosa. He sets them down 1-2-3. We will see the Milford Scarlet Hawks take their first swings of the game when we come back next. No score here from Pheno as you enjoy coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics here on Milford TV. Bottom of the first inning now here at Pheno Field as The wind starts to pick up. It started to gust a bit just before game time. Right now, you can see the American flag out in left center field blowing straight in towards the plate. So something for the outfielders to keep in mind as this game continues. The outfield not getting much work in the top half of the first inning. We saw a fly ball to center field off the bat of Sam Larkin. Other than that, a ground out and a strikeout as part of a 1-2-3 first inning for Luke Rosa. And now it is Ian Hamill-Kelleher concluding his warm-up tosses out there, the righty, getting the start today for the Attleboro Bombardiers.
And if you can use that wind to your advantage, definitely with a high hit, then, I mean, you can think about errors, try to figure out if the outfield tries to misplace the ball, and even sunlight can get in the way of that.
You can see that flag really twisting around out there, so if you hit one up into that breeze, it's going to be a bit of an adventure for these outfielders to figure out exactly where it's going to come down. Milford will bring their top 3 hitters to the plate here in the first. Matt Shaver, Colby Pyers, and Aiden Wild. The offense still a work in progress for this young Milford team. They've scored a total of 22 runs through their first 8 games. That is second fewest in the in the Davenport division of the Hockomock League. And of those 22 runs, 11 of them were scored in a single game in that victory against Foxborough.
That's not fair and well for Milford, but definitely could use an advantage right now against Attleboro, and maybe a high-scoring run game is in their favor.
Matt Shaver, the leadoff batter, sending one slowly on the ground to second base. Corey McKenna, no problem making the play, 4-3 on the ground out. One out, and the base is empty now as Colby Pyers settles in on the right side. Pyers hits one hard, but right to Jason Ware, who is playing even with the grass at third. He fires across, and one pitch, and Pyers is retired. And that will leave the inning up to one of the most feared hitters in the Hockomock League for all 4 years of his varsity career, Aiden Wild. Wild stands in, the lone captain officially on the Scarlet Hawks roster this year. His 3rd year as a captain, and he will not get a chance to swing the bat as he will take that first pitch from Kelleher off the backside. And that is one way to avoid facing the big bat of Aiden Wild.
Tyler Almeida, the catcher for the Scarlet Hawks, takes up to the batter's box.
Looks like a bit of an equipment malfunction there, or more, should I say, a jewelry malfunction. The necklace falling off just before the at-bat. That's never a good thing. Baseball players tend to be the most superstitious.
Seems like he might have even lost his necklace, or part of it.
I think a lot of fans around here, you think about the necklace falling off mid-game, you think back to early 2000s with Pedro Martinez pitching a no-hitter against Tampa Bay. Had the necklace fall off in the 9th inning, ended up giving up a hit to the very next batter. So sometimes those superstitions are legitimate. Almeida ready to go now, takes the first pitch down and in for ball 1, batting with Aiden Wild at first base and 2 down. They'll check on Wild. Slides back in safely, a high throw. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and Almeida takes it for ball 2. Tyler Almeida wearing the Scarlet Hawks colors for the first time this season, playing for Blackstone Valley Technical High School last year, but transferring over here to Milford. And he finds himself way ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Almeida ended up stepping into a key role late in the season for the Legion baseball team last summer. And now a chance to play for this high school squad as well. Here's the 3-0, and that is up and away for ball 4. So what started off as an easy inning for Kelleher, now getting a little more complicated after the hit by pitch, and now a 4-pitch walk to put 2 on with 2 down for the left fielder, Matt Nickerson.
Man in scoring position, and the only thing that's going through Nickerson's mind right now is getting Wild home. Definitely critical for Milford to score some runs early on in this game.
First pitch swinging, Nickerson lifts it to center field, not deep, ranging a few steps over towards left. is Alvaro Espinal. He's able to make the catch. So despite the 2 base runners with 2 outs, Milford cannot get anything across the plate. And so both teams go scoreless in the first inning. 0-0 the score between Milford and Attleboro as we travel on to the second inning next here on Milford TV. Batters 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Bombardiers as we move on to inning number 2 here from Pheno Field. Feeling like the middle of summer here. Certainly no one going to complain about that. Tim Coet and Neelan Reisman here on the call, along with our Milford TV crew. Happy to be bringing you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. Luke Rosa back out for his second inning of work and starts off this second inning with a called strike 1 to John Candialis, one of the captains of this Attleboro team. Takes that pitch low and outside, evening the count at 1-1. Candialis and James Weir, the 2 captains for Attleboro.
Bombardiers still looking to put their first base runner.
2 balls and 1 strike on Candialis. He'll be followed by Troy Van Vley and Dakota Kirby. Wind up and the pitch. Candialis holding up on the swing, and that pitch missing outside, and now a 3-ball, 1-strike count. Now the next one on the way, and that one is fouled away at the plate. A big cut by Candialis as the count now runs full. Attleboro missing the playoffs last year, but their head coach, Matt Bosch, expecting this team to be much more competitive this year. After getting some growing pains out of the way last season, they will have their first base runner here in the top of the second inning as Candialis ends up working the walk, the first walk allowed by Luke Rosa. Leadoff man aboard now for Troy Van Vley. See Rosa now pitch from the stretch, and the first offering is sent in the air out to right. Underneath it is Naylor. You could see the wind taking that one just a bit, but Naylor able to stay with it. He makes the catch, and Van Vley is retired for out number 1.
Good job for Naylor to stick with it. That was a very high fly ball.
We've seen a lot of times right field can be the toughest field to play here at Pheno Field. Typically at the high school level, you see predominantly right-handed bats, which sends a lot of action to left field and center field. You don't get a lot out in right field, so sometimes those right fielders have to stay on their toes. The runner takes off for second base as that pitch went in the dirt, and no chance for Almeida to send a throw down to second base, so an uncontested steal for Candialis. He's able to get himself into scoring position with 1 down.
Took a very decent lead off of that first base, and easy steal for Candialis right there.
Now this one hit hard to shortstop. The runner will continue on as Shaver will send the throw to first base to get the out there. So Candialis able to make that a productive out as he moves over to third base. He was off on contact. Shaver is keeping his focus on the runner heading down to first to get the sure out there. So Dakota Kirby retired 6-3. But the first potential run of the day now stands at third base with the number 7 hitter James Weir digging in. He takes a first pitch strike. A lot of activity over there at third base for Candialis, taking a big lead. The next pitch from Rosa. That one misses, evening the count at 1-1. Attleboro trying to strike first, hoping to capitalize off of the leadoff walk. Here's the 1-1 pitch, a breaking ball, and that one had James Weir out in front.
Rosa looking for his second strikeout of the day.
It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Looking to pitch out of the jam. Here it comes, and he doubles up on the off-speed pitch and gets Weir to strike out. The second K of the day for Luke Rosa, very effectively pitching out of the jam. Attleboro strands the runner at third base. We've played 1.5 now from Pheno Field. It is still scoreless between the Scarlet Hawks and the Bombardiers on this coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. Bottom half of the second inning now from Pheno Field, and Luke Rosa right off of a strikeout to conclude the top half of this inning will lead off the bottom half of the frame at the plate. He'll be followed by Justin Appleby and Matt Swanson. Afternoon baseball here at Pheno Field. There was also afternoon baseball over at Fenway Park today. The Red Sox squeaking out a 5-4 victory over the Kansas City Royals thanks to 3 home runs by Mookie Betts. So the Scarlet Hawks team hoping to channel a little of that offense. Don't know if you're going to see 3 home runs here at Pheno. The fans would certainly love it. Rosa, after taking a first pitch strike, will watch a breaking ball miss up around the eye level. And now a 1-1 pitch. This one hit hard out into left field, and a diving attempt by James Weir, but he has to play it on a hop. And Rosa will be aboard to lead off this bottom half of the second inning. That should go as a base hit. James Weir getting kind of caught in between there, Neil, and you could see he wasn't sure if he wanted to play it straight up or dive for it. He ended up kind of going halfway with sort of a half-hearted dive and ended up playing the ball on a bounce. A bit of an awkward play out there in left.
Yeah, a little bit of a dive stumble right there. Had to crawl over to get the ball, but it seemed like his body bounced off the ball itself and kept it dead, able to make sure that it didn't stray off and push Rosa to second.
If that ball gets past him out there in left field, there's certainly copious amounts of territory here at Pheno Field. A ball like that, if it gets past you, can mean sometimes an inside-the-park home run, but that one stayed in front of the left fielder and goes as a base hit for Rosa. And now a pitch down in the dirt for Justin Appleby, the second baseman, batting out of the number 7 spot.
Rosa straying away from first a little bit.
Held on by Troy Van Valley, the first baseman. Here's the pitch and a bunt attempt. But out in front of the plate, the catcher has to pounce on it. Kirby's throw to first base gets there in time to retire Appleby, but credit him with a sacrifice to push Rosa into scoring position. That's the kind of thing you're going to see out of a team struggling at the plate, getting the leadoff runner on. They want to put him in scoring position, give the team a chance to scratch a run across in this inning. So Appleby with the successful sacrifice, and now a runner in scoring position for the designated hitter, Matt Swanson.
And with no outs and a man on first, a bunt is not a bad option. Pushing him down to second and giving Swanson a chance to put it out in the field and maybe score Rosa, putting him at home.
Pitch up to Swanson for ball 1. Next pitch, that one in for a strike. One matchup a year for these two opponents, with it being a Hockomock League crossover matchup. Milford was able to win the meeting last year. Attleboro taking the one the year before that. So a bit of a back and forth over the years between these two teams.
Foul ball by Swanson right there, and that might have went right into the parking lot. Definitely something that every field really fears of is where you parking your car, because next thing you know, you get a foul ball into the windshield.
Especially here at Pheno Field, the parking lot very much in foul ball territory, and a lot of times those balls head out to the parking lot with pretty good velocity. So you park at your own risk if you park close to field level. This ball is hit back up the middle. That's through for a base hit. Coach Dion going to wave the runner around from third base. Here comes the throw to the plate, and it is there in time to get the out. Alvaro Espinal with an excellent throw from shallow center field. Coach Dion taking the chance with one out in the inning. But Luke Rosa gunned down at home plate with a very good throw from Espinal. So credit Swanson with a base hit, the second hit of the inning for Milford, but the good defensive play prevents the run from scoring, so still zeros on the scoreboard now with a runner at first base and 2 down. And the first pitch into the number 9 hitter, Nick Marcolini, is good for strike 1. And you can see the way the outfield is positioned right now. Everyone in fairly shallow, particularly in center and left. Not really respecting a power threat out of this Milford lineup, and that strategy for Coach Bosch paying off with Espinal shallow enough in center field to be able to get to that ball quickly off the bat of Swanson and being able to send the throw all the way in towards the plate on the money to get the out. Marcolini trying to keep the inning going. First a check over at first base where Swanson is back safely. Here's the next pitch. Cue shot off the end of the bat, hit very slowly to shortstop. Ranging for it is Candialis. His throw to first base is high. It gets away from Van Villay, and the runners will move up. To third base goes Swanson. Down to second goes Marcolini. And Candialis, a bad decision there. That was a very slow roller to shortstop. He had to sort of come around the baseball to be able to field it. It really did not look like there was any chance to get the out at first base. Attleboro shortstop, Nealon, I think would have been best served just keeping that ball in the glove rather than chancing the off-balance throw.
A little bit of a dribbler off the ground hit. Went into panic mode from Candialis right there. Instead of trying to keep it in control and just accepting the base hit, throws it a little bit wild, high speed, and just right into the dugout, or right around the dugout of Attleboro.
Now a called strike into Matt Shaver, taking his second at bat of the game. So it should go as an infield hit and then an error on the throw, allowing the runners to advance. So the first error of the game. 2 in scoring position for Shaver as he takes the pitch high.
Keller in a little bit of a threat right now. Instead of having men on first and second, now you have to worry about 2 people in scoring position, standing at third and second off the wild throw.
That pitch on the inside part of the plate for a called strike 2. Shaver grounded out to second base his first time up. Here's the pitch. And that one is popped up in foul ground in front of the visitors' dugout. It's the pitcher, Kelleher, who's able to range over to make the catch for the out that ends the inning. So Milford with a couple of different scoring opportunities in this inning. They have a runner thrown out at the plate, and then it's Shaver with the foul out with 2 in scoring position. So some squandered opportunities for the Scarlet Hawks in the second. We'll head on to inning number 3. It is still Milford 0 and Attleboro 0 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. More offensive frustration for the Scarlet Hawks. They end up with 3 hits in that bottom of the second inning when all was said and done, Nealon, but just could not push a run across the plate.
Yeah, leaving 2 men stranded on base by the end of the inning, and Milford doing a good job getting on base. It's now more of, can you finish and have someone score at the plate? And definitely for a team that doesn't score a lot of runs, they're showing threats of at least managing to make contact with the bat.
You have to imagine that this is a team that is pressing a little bit at the plate, knowing they have struggled to put up runs. You have to think if they can start to get a couple of big hits, it's going to take a lot of the pressure off the rest of the lineup. In the meantime, a hard hit ball right back to the pitcher's mound. A nice play made by Lucas Rosa on the ball off the bat of the DH Gavin Wildrick, and it ends up going as a 1-3 ground out to open up the top of the third. Rosa has been good so far. 2 1/3 innings pitched now. The only base runner he's allowed came on a leadoff walk last inning. He has a couple of strikeouts. And now we'll face the number 9 man, James Weir. We'll take one that narrowly misses outside for ball 1.
Jason Weir at bat. I wonder if he's actually related to James Weir.
A couple of Weirs in the lineup for the Bombardiers. James in left field, Jason the third baseman. batting with the bases empty and one down in the top half of the third. That pitch misses, and now Rosa falling behind the number 9 hitter. High leg kick from Rosa, and the pitch that hits on the outside part of the plate. This pitch on the way, and this one fought off towards second base, down to one knee as Appleby gets up, makes the throw to Wild at first, and it is 2 up and 2 down.
Now, another good thing that we were talking about before the game started, or around the start of the game, is the new change in pitching staff. And Luke Rosa, a sophomore for the Scarlet Hawks, definitely someone that you can say you're proud of. I mean, he's got a lot of durability. He can go long. His pitching appearance at Stoughton, he went almost the entire way before they switched going into extra innings. And you got 2 more years out of him. Do the best what you can make out of it, and he could definitely be a very mound threat for these Scarlet Hawks in the future.
Yeah, looking for those building blocks for the future. You certainly want to compete this year, but you also want to see the players who can continue to compete and reshape this team for the future. And at least the early returns on Lucas Rosa are very promising. Working on a good outing here today, about to deliver a 1-1 pitch into Sam Larkin. And that misses inside. 2 balls into strike. Larkin, the leadoff batter. Attleboro going second time through the order now. Larkin flying out to center field his first time. Yanking that pitch too far outside was Rosa. Falls behind 3-1. Trying to find a way to complete his second 1-2-3 inning of the outing, as that pitch hits the inside part of the plate, much to the dismay of Larkin, who had already taken several steps down the first base line. Now has to come back as the count runs full. And now the 3-2 pitch, and that is taken up and away for ball 4, so Larkin eventually does work the walk.
Second walk for Rosa in today's game.
So now a chance for Corey McKenna with a runner on. McKenna 0 for 1, grounded out to third base back in the first inning. Pitch misses upstairs for Rosa, so the command faltering just a little bit here after getting the first 2 outs in the third. A lead at first base for Larkin, being held on by Wild. The runner takes off as the pitch misses low, and again we'll see no throw from Tyler Almeida. Popped up out of the crouch, but perhaps could not get a solid grip on the baseball, so elected not to send a throw down to second base, and it's the second steal of the game. Now Larkin in scoring position. 1-1 pitch into McKenna is lifted high in the air, out towards left field, twisting towards foul territory. And it is Matt Nickerson, the left fielder, who is able to make the catch in foul ground. And so that will retire the side here in the third inning, and that is another runner stranded now. For the Attleboro Bombardiers, they've stranded runners in scoring position in each of the last 2 innings. We still look for our first run. 0-0 the score between Milford and Attleboro, here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Scarlet Hawks getting good pitching yet again here this afternoon. Luke Rosa with just a couple of walks through 3 innings of work. He's held Attleboro off the scoreboard. But Milford unable to put up any offense themselves. They've scattered 2 hits through the first 2 innings against Ian Hamill-Kelleher, who will deal with batters 2, 3, and 4 here in the third inning. Colby Pyers drives this ball out to left center field, but room for Alvaro Espinal. That one hanging up long enough for the Attleboro center fielder to adjust and make the catch.
Strong power field hit by Colby Pyers right there. And with that game plan that Bosch is having with the short infield, definitely some kind of contact that places itself out a couple hundred feet could be a very big threat.
Yeah, we talked about it last inning, playing the outfield relatively shallow, which can sometimes be a dangerous thing. Again, here at Pheno Field, you take a look at the dimensions. Get a ball over your head in this outfield, it can travel a long way. 416 out to left center field.
432 out in center field, and then 375 out in right.
So you're looking at almost big league ballpark dimensions here at Pheno Field. So if you play shallow, sometimes it can really hurt you if the ball gets over your head. And certainly a batter at the dish right now that can do just that. And Aiden Wild was hit by a pitch his first time up, now takes a strike on the outside part of the plate.
And they're definitely not dimensions that any high school player is crushing it out of the park, but infield the park home runs, definitely a big concern.
Wild fights that ball off out towards second base on a bounce played by Corey McKenna, but cannot get a throw to first base, just holds on to it as Wild is on with an infield single. So we talked about the power threat for Aiden Wild. That one just sort of shanked out there towards second base, but effective nonetheless, as McKenna had to play it on a hop, and it was so slow developing, no chance to get the out at first base. So an infield hit, the third hit for the Scarlet Hawks. And a runner at first base ahead of Tyler Almeida, but before Almeida sees a pitch, Aiden Wild checked on over at first base. Kelleher pitched very carefully to the 3 and 4 hitters in the Milford lineup the first time around. And you have to imagine a lot of pitchers in the Hockomock League are taking that same game plan until this full lineup can prove that they can hurt you. No reason to give Aiden Wild or Tyler Almeida anything really good to look at while they're at the plate. Almeida takes a swing at that one and sends it foul out of play.
Wild looking to steal to second off that foul ball as he paces himself back to first base.
It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on the left-handed batting Tyler Almeida. Wild not going this time as the pitch is popped up out into left field. Ranging out is the shortstop. A long way to go for Candialis, but he's able to make the catch. James Weir, I think, lost track of that baseball out and left, so that forced Candialis to make the trip out into the shallow left field grass, but able to make the play.
Good communication right there by the Bombardiers for Candialis to just make sure that he was the one grabbing the ball after Weir loses it up in the air.
2 outs now in the inning for Matt Nickerson. Aiden Wild taking off for second base. The pitch in the dirt, the throw down, bounces away from Candialis, and Aiden Wild with the stolen base. That's actually McKenna, the second baseman, I believe, that fielded the throw. A steal for Wild in scoring position now. And a 2-ball, no-strike count on Nickerson, who flew out his first time up with runners at first and second base. Now hits one hard on the ground to third base. It sneaks under the glove of Jason Ware, and Aiden Wild able to wander on over to third base with no one covering the bag. So Nickerson safe at first. Wild advances to third. And all of a sudden now it's runners at the corners with 2 outs for Milford.
Luke Rose up to bat, and he's 1 for 1, hitting one shy out into left field that bounced off Weir and made his way home, got tagged out at the plate, but men in first and third, and now he has a chance to put in the first runs for the game.
So another 2-out opportunity.
Plenty of opportunities for the Scarlet Hawks early on, just not confirming or making any action upon it.
They've stranded 2 in each of the first 2 innings, and once again with 2 runners aboard here in the third. Hoping to finally cash in as Rosa takes that one outside for ball 1.
Wouldn't surprise me if the Scarlet Hawks try to take second. Nickerson staying on the bag, but taking a few steps off the bag before the pitch is thrown.
Hesitation now from Kelleher, now fires in. And that pitch is low, 2-0 now. The catcher much less inclined to send a throw down to second base with that runner at third, so the opportunity is certainly there for Nickerson if he chooses to take advantage, and now Kelleher doing all he can to keep that runner close, sends the pickoff throw over. Nickerson able to get back standing up, now pops right back out to a lead. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Rosa lays off, but takes the strike. Light crowd here at Pheno, but the Milford fans trying to cheer on a potential rally here. Here's the 2-1 pitch, and that misses high. A delayed takeoff down to second base for Nickerson. They do throw through. And the shortstop cutting off the throw. It's a bit of an unorthodox play there as Nickerson took off late, but he ends up getting the steal. So it's a 3-1 count. 2 in scoring position, and now a foul ball off the bat of Rosa, and that runs the count full. So a big pitch coming up here with Wild at third, Nickerson at second, trying to break a scoreless tie here in the bottom of the third inning. And a 3-2 pitch on the way to Lucas Rosa, and it is fouled to the backstop. That one just narrowly missing our backstop camera. That one almost ending up right in everyone's living room. Stays a 3-2 count. The next pitch from Kelleher is swung on and missed. And the inning is over. Milford, for the third straight inning, strands 2 runners on the base paths. And it stays 0-0 the score between Milford and Attleboro here on coverage of Milford High School baseball on Milford TV. No runs, 4 hits, no errors for Milford. No runs, no hits, 2 errors for Attleboro. As we move on now to the top half of inning number 4, and Lucas Rosa uncorks a wild breaking ball for ball 1 as he faces Alvaro Espinal, the number 3 hitter. He'll be followed by Candialis and Van Villay in the top half of the 4th.
Espinal at his last plate appearance having a strikeout.
Hits one through the hole on the right side of the infield, only making its way a few feet out into shallow right field, but nonetheless, Espinal aboard with a well-placed base hit. That is just the first hit of the day for the Bombardiers.
Seemed like Naylor might have even had a chance to pick that up and throw it to first, but he bobbled it looked like, a right fielder.
The leadoff man aboard, and perhaps Rosa taking a little bit of his frustrations at the plate out onto the pitcher's mound for this inning. Rosa at the dish with 2 outs and 2 in scoring position in the bottom of the 3rd, but a swinging strike 3 ended the scoring chance for the Scarlet Hawks, keeping this game at a 0-0 tie. And John Candialis, the cleanup hitter, turning as if to bunt on that first pitch.
Every Bombardier that has gotten on base has stolen second. Both coming from walks as Espinal stands on first, and he'll take off.
The throw down to second base is going to one-hop the bag, and no problem for Espinal to get himself into scoring position. So you mentioned it, Nealon. The runners, when they have gotten on, and there have only been 3 base runners so far in the game, they have had some success, and a bit of a slow delivery to the plate for Rosa, and I think that's clearly what these runners are going on. Not a lot for Almeida to do by the time the ball gets to him, as Rosa is able to deliver a strike.
Threat lands on second, and now the possibility of even trying to take third. He takes a well lead off a second.
Shaver creeping in from short, trying to keep him close as this ball bounces in. So trouble brewing here. It's a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Candialis at the plate. And now the pitch, this one hit hard to shortstop. It takes a hard ricochet out of the glove of Wild. He'll need the pitcher to cover the bag. They are able to get the out. 3-1. Sharp grounder over to first base. Wild was at least able to keep the ball in front. And eventually, it's the 3-1 out with Rosa covering the first base bag. But on the play, Espinal able to move up to third with only 1 out in the inning. Gives Attleboro the opportunity to score without the benefit of a hit if Van Villay can send one deep enough to the outfield. He'll start off ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Villay popping out to right field his first time up. And now takes one too low. 2 balls and no strikes. So we continue to experience a warm breeze at times blowing hard in towards the plate. For a little while it had shifted from left to right, but now once again blowing back in towards home plate. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's inside and low. Rosa's command. It's been an issue so far here in the 4th inning. He was very sharp through the first 3.
Starting to shake up a little bit as he has the 3-0 count.
Runner with a lead off of third base. Here's the pitch. It's hit hard and just foul wide of the third base bag. Looked like trouble, but fortunately just to the left of the third base bag. A foul ball, and also nice job by the Attleboro third base coach to just barely get out of the way.
A little bit of Spider-Man reflexes avoiding that, dodging out of the way.
3-1 pitch now coming, and it's hit hard to the drawn-in infield. It's short. Shaver able to look the runner back to third, and then gets the out at first base. Excellent play by Shaver to snag that one on the backhand right at the lip of the infield grass. He looks Espinal back to third base and then able to get the out at first, so 2 down now.
A little bit of an intimidation factor right there by Shaver. Definitely on point, pinpoint throw right to Wild. Able to keep the man on third, push it to a 2-out.
So a chance now for Rosa to pitch his way out of the jam. And he starts off with a first pitch strike to the catcher, Dakota Kirby, batting 0 for 1, grounded out to shortstop back in the 2nd inning. This is the 2nd time that Attleboro has had a runner to third base. Here's the 0-1, goes back to the off-speed pitch and drops it in for a called strike 2. 2 strikeouts on the day for Luke Rosa. They've both been good for the final out of an inning. Trying for the same result here. Here's the 0-2 pitch, and trying to hold up on the swing. Kirby ends up poking that ball foul. It stays 0-2. A strikeout to end the 1st inning, a strikeout to end the 2nd. Rosa looking for that K right here to bring a conclusion to the top of the 4th. Here comes another 0-2 pitch. And this one in the dirt, it gets away from Almeida. He can't find it. It ricochets down the first base line, and in from third base to score comes Espinal. And a pass ball will give Attleboro the first run of the day. They take a 1-0 lead. So Milford looking like they were going to pitch their way out of trouble, but the ball in the dirt, Almeida couldn't find it. It didn't travel all that far away from the catcher, but could not pick it up in time, and Alvaro Espinal able to come in from third base, so more frustration for Milford as they now fall behind 1-0. Rosa trying to get out of the inning now with the bases empty.
Starting the count with 2 strikes, and it's just been back-to-back-to-back balls. Pushing to the full count for Dakota Kirby. Giving the Bombardiers another chance to put a man on first.
Here is the pitch, and that one inside for ball 4. And so, the 3rd walk of the game for Rosa. Puts Kirby on. And now we'll give James Weir a chance. Weir, one of the 2 strikeout victims for Lucas Rosa coming back in the second inning. First pitch coming in low for a ball. No activity warming up right now on the sidelines for Milford. Coach Dion hoping Rosa can put an end to this inning quickly. The runner stops and starts as the pitch just barely misses inside, and a 2-0 count now.
Second base needs to be prepared for Kirby to take off.
Kirby, the catcher, with a short lead off of first base. He doesn't go as the pitch is in for a strike. Count goes to 2-1. A leadoff base hit in this inning, a stolen base. And eventually the pass ball allowing a run to come home for the Attleboro Bombardiers, and now a fly ball hit out to right off the bat of Weir, twisting into foul ground. Wild going as far as he can, tumbles. Does he make the catch? No, he does not. A good effort from Aiden Wild, all the way as deep in foul ground as you can get out in right field. Tons of foul territory out there, going all the way towards the fence, right in front of where the spectators love to set up the lawn chairs. So an excellent bid from the senior captain, but he cannot make the play. That's a 2-ball, 2-strike count now on Weir. The runner takes off. Here's the pitch, and it's a foul ball again off to the right side and out of play.
Kirby pushing back to first. Milford just trying to get out of this hectic fourth inning.
It's been the longest half inning so far. Another foul ball off the bat of Weir, and it stays a 2-2 count.
We're keeping the count alive.
Long look in now for Rosa to his battery mate, Tyler Almeida. Comes to the set. Runner takes off again. The 2-2 pitch is tapped foul. And we will do it all again. Dakota Kirby getting a workout a couple of times now. It's broken for second base, only to come back on the foul ball. He will step right back out to a lead. They'll stay put this time as Rosa's pitch misses outside. And he will definitely have a chance to get a head start over at first base this time on the 3-2 count with 2 down in the inning.
Rosa checks first.
To the set position, the runner goes, the 3-2 pitch, and it is grounded foul to the backstop.
Yet again, another foul ball by Weir.
Very tough at bat for James Weir, making Rosa throw a lot of pitches here. So many foul balls in the at bat. The umpire needing a new complement of baseballs from the first base dugout before we continue. Back to the set for Rosa, another payoff pitch, and that misses inside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks now for Rosa as this inning now continues. 4 walks now for the sophomore, and that will prompt a visit from head coach Alex Dion out of the third base dugout. A run home so far in the inning, and now 2 on with 2 outs ahead of the number 8 hitter Gavin Wildrick. A conversation now taking place between Lucas Rosa, the catcher Tyler Almeida, and first-year head coach Alex Dion. Of course, taking over this season after Coach Paul Pellegrini stepped down after last season, and Coach Dion, who had been an assistant on the staff for several seasons, taking over. And Coach Dion doing a very good job keeping this team focused in working with a lot of raw talent this season. He certainly got the buy-in of these players and keeping them focused on the fact that the wins will eventually come if they keep doing the right things. That has been the message from this coaching staff early on the year. Wildrick at the plate now, 0 for 1. Bounce one back to the pitcher his first time up. Sees that pitch miss up and away.
Pushing the count, 1-1 for Rosa.
Runners leading off of first and second base. The Attleboro bench getting loud now, hoping to see some more damage done on the scoreboard. As the count now goes to 2 balls and a strike. Momentum shifting into Attleboro's favor. Milford had all the scoring chances early, but Attleboro making something happen here as Kirby takes off for third base. The ball hit to short, and Shaver this time unable to get a clean handle on the baseball. He does keep it on the infield, so that prevents the runner coming around from third, but the bases are now loaded. And that one's certainly a judgment call, a slow hit ball to shortstop. As to whether that will be an infield hit or an error, we will mark it in the scorebook for now as an infield base hit for Wildrick.
Sophomore Jason Weir now taking the plate. Bases loaded.
Takes a first pitch strike. Kirby at third, James Weir at second, Wildrick at first. A bases loaded 2-out opportunity now for the Bombardiers. Number 9 hitter about to see an 0-1 pitch hit back up the middle, snagged by Rosa. He fires to first base offline, but Wild is able to hang on and reestablishes the foot on the bag in time to collect the out. So anxious moments right to the very end there, but eventually Milford able to complete the 1-3 putout that brings an end to the inning. So Attleboro does get a run on the passed ball, but they strand the bases loaded. And so heading into the bottom half of the 4th inning, it is now 1-0 in favor of the Bombardiers as we continue our coverage of Milford High School athletics here on Milford TV. Attleboro taking a 1-0 lead off a passed ball in the top half of this 4th inning, now moving on to the bottom half of the frame. It'll be batters 7, 8, and 9 due up. Ball hit to third base off the bat of Justin Appleby and misplayed at third by Weir. And that will go down as the 3rd Attleboro error of the afternoon. And Appleby will reach. So Appleby at first, Swanson now at the plate, and Nick Marcolini about to head to the on-deck circle. Marcolini was throwing over in the bullpen in between innings. Now grabs the bat, heads into the on-deck area. So Milford immediately able to get the tying run to first base. And now a bunt attempt by Swanson sends it out slowly towards the pitcher. Kelleher to first base to get the out. Second sacrifice bunt of the day from Milford. That pushes the potential tying run into scoring position. Now for the number 9 hitter, Nick Marcolini, who reached on an infield hit. Advanced to second base on a throwing error his first time up. Milford has stranded a total of 6 base runners through the first 3 innings. They have another in scoring position here with 1 down. And Marcolini jumping on the first pitch sends it out to left field, but that hangs up for James Weir playing shallow. He's able to make the catch and a very quick out for Marcolini. And so once again, Neil and Milford in danger of stranding a base runner on the base paths.
Definitely with Appleby at second, starting off with the leadoff from Matt Shaver, and definitely 7 people left on base through the course of 4 innings. It's more of a what if.
And this one will skip to the backstop, a pitch in the dirt for Kelleher. Kirby unable to keep it in front, and so now that pushes the runner Appleby to third base. And a 1-0 count on Shaver, who is 0 for 2. He's grounded out and fouled out. And now this ball skipping off the glove of Kirby, and in from third base to score comes Justin Appleby to tie the game at 1.
Back-to-back missed pitches by Keller, falling off the catcher's mitt, brings Justin Appleby home.
So a pass ball bringing the run home for Attleboro in the top half of this inning, and now a pass ball and a wild pitch allow Milford to tie the game. The base is empty now for Shaver, who takes a strike. So both teams able to score without the benefit of a hit, as Shaver sends one foul over the backstop. That one sounded like it took a ricochet off of the press box. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Kelleher's next pitch, and that one will hit Shaver. Shaver not particularly happy about it. Took a little peek out towards the pitcher's mound before trotting down to first base, and you can see Ian Hamill-Kelleher with a little bit of a look back, so maybe some bad blood brewing. That's the second hit batter of the day for Ian Hamill-Kelleher.
Shaver standing on first. Pierre is on at the plate.
Colby Pyers 0 for 2. He's swung early in the count. Both times he's come to the plate. Lays off the first pitch here. It hits the outside part of the plate for a called strike 1. Ground out to third base, and a fly out to center has been the day so far for Colby Pyers.
Shaver straying off first, definitely as Kelleher throws back, checking. Milford definitely with 2 outs, not afraid to take second.
Good speed on the bases, and Shaver, as this one is bounced slowly back up the middle, the shortstop waits for it. He'll shuffle it underhand to the second baseman covering the bag, and Attleboro able to get the force out to end the inning, but a wild pitch with a runner on third base allows Milford to get the equalizer. We've played 4 full innings now from Pheno Field. It is 1-1 between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Attleboro Bombardiers here on Milford TV. Milford scoring an unearned run in the bottom half of the 4th inning, getting a leadoff base runner courtesy of an error. That run eventually coming around to score on a wild pitch. So Milford creating a lot of good scoring opportunities through the early innings and not cashing in. That last inning, the run, thanks in large part to some miscues on the Attleboro side, but the Scarlet Hawks will take offense any way they can get it. Tying the game at 1 as we move now to the top of the 5th inning.
Keeps that in scoring position, or men left on base for Milford back down to 6, or keeping it at 6.
This ball hit slowly back up the middle, and it pops out of the glove of the second baseman, Appleby. It might have taken a tricky hop as it went over the lip of the infield grass. Appleby ranging towards the second base bag to try to make the play.
Seemed like a very strange hit by Larkin. Almost looked more like a golf swing than a baseball as he underswings it. Still managing to make contact with the bottom of the bat, but that dribbles right past towards Appleby.
We'll mark that down as an error. Check in with the team for the official scoring after the fact, but once again, Attleboro able to get the leadoff runner on. That's the 2nd inning in a row. And the 3rd overall in the game, they've been able to get the leadoff runner on. And good speed in their leadoff batter, Sam Larkin. And now Attleboro showing bunt. Almeida with a snap throw down to first base, but Larkin gets back to the bag. Strike on the batter, Corey McKenna. He's 0 for 2. We are in the top half of the 5th. Not showing bunt this time. McKenna takes one inside to even the count at a ball and a strike. The Milford softball team on the road today in Attleboro, facing their Bombardier counterparts. softball team continuing to play undefeated on the year as the runner takes off for second base. And again, no attempt at a throw for Tyler Almeida. And Larkin makes it the third successful stolen base of the game.
It's like stealing candy for from a baby from going first to second.
Rosa's next pitch, breaking ball in for a strike. Nick Marcolini getting in some throwing last inning, so starting to get loose should Coach Dion need to go to the bullpen as this game progresses. A 3-2 count now on the batter, McKenna. Attleboro's number 3 hitter, Alvaro Espinal, waiting on deck. Runner taking off for third base as the pitch is low. Almeida's throw to third is offline. It's ball 4. And so McKenna will trot down to first base. And you could see Sam Larkin stealing that base right off the pitcher. Rosa never looking back at Larkin. So he took off good 3 or 4 seconds before Rosa even released the pitch.
Smart play by Larkin right there, and it's definitely showing why they aren't throwing it to the bases. Almeida whips it right at the ground. Pierre is able to stick with it and avoid Larkin head home.
Not much Almeida could do in that situation with the runner getting such a good jump. And immediately now the runner taking off for second base. Almeida won't try the throw with that runner at third. And it has just been open season on the base paths right now for these Attleboro runners. They have clearly seen something in the delivery of Lucas Rosa, and they have taken full advantage. 5, make it 6 stolen bases in the game as Espinal with a big swing and a miss.
Seems like every Bombardier that's stepping up on first base is getting a steal.
So with 2 in scoring position and nobody out, Milford with the infield in tight all the way around. That played to their advantage earlier in the game. It's back in the second inning with a runner on third base and 1 out. Dakota Kirby hitting a sharp grounder to shortstop with the infield in, and Shaver able to keep that runner held at third. And meanwhile here, a quick strikeout for Rosa. He's able to get Espinal a big out. First out of the inning, still a long way to go, but Rosa getting his 3rd K. And now Almeida out for a conversation with his pitcher to make sure the two are on the same page before the at-bat commences against John Candialis, the cleanup hitter, who walked and was eventually stranded at third base back in the second, and then bounced one to first base. It's actually a hard hit ball that exploded out of the glove of Wild, but Milford able to get the out. And here you'll see the intentional walk for Candialis, so they won't even try it. Milford opting to walk the bases loaded, and now a full-blown conference on the pitcher's mound as head coach Alex Dion makes his way back out there. And another example right there of the rule that was first implemented at the major league level, and now we've seen it trickle down to the high school game, where you no longer have to throw the intentional balls for the intentional walk. You just give the signal to the umpire, and the batter able to immediately take the base. Not a rule I'm particularly fond of, but a rule that is on the books nonetheless. Candialis with the intentional walk. And so loaded up for Troy Van Villay, the first baseman, batting 0 for 2. Key spot in the game. Bases loaded and 1 out. And Rosa starts off with a called strike on the inside part of the plate.
Risky decision made by Dion right there, sending a man to first off an intentional walk.
Electing to put the forced play on at any base, and also keeping the cleanup hitter from having a chance to swing the bat with 2 in scoring position. A 1 ball, 1 strike count now to Van Vliet.
And with Van Vliet 0 for 2 at the plate, not maybe a little bit decreasing your chances of bringing one of these players home.
Roll of the dice. Milford playing a double play depth up the middle. Corner infielders still in tight as the pitch is swung on and missed. And the count evens again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The outfield about medium depth. A couple of steps deeper in left field for Nickerson. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and it's hit in the air out to right center. Racing back is Naylor, now settling underneath to make the catch. Tagging at third base, and coming in to score is Sam Larkin. So Van Vliet able to get that one deep enough to bring the run home. Credit Troy Van Vliet with the sacrifice fly, and the run batted in as Attleboro is able to go back on top now, 2-1.
McKenna tagging on second base during that pop fly and transitions to third. And now with runners on first and third.
And it brings the catcher Dakota Kirby to the plate. He walked his last time up. He was at the plate when the pass ball allowed the first run of the day to come home. Ended up walking, part of back-to-back walks, followed by an infield single that loaded the bases for Attleboro last inning before Rosa was finally able to pitch out of it. Runner taking off from first base as Almeida will once again keep the ball in his hand, does not send the throw down to second base, and so now 2 in scoring position as Candialis has the 4th stolen base of this inning alone. And now this one chopped back up the middle, ranging behind the bag as Appleby throws to first and gets the out. Very good play for Justin Appleby. He had a long way to range to his right, able to set the feet and send an off-balance throw to first base in time to get the out that retires the side. So 2 runners stranded in the frame for Attleboro, but the sacrifice fly for Troy Van Vliet gives the visitors a 2-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning next here on Milford TV. 2 runs on 2 hits with 3 errors now for Attleboro. 1 run, 4 hits, and an error for the Milford Scarlet Hawks. So Attleboro jumping back on top, scoring an unearned run in the 5th inning. Sam Larkin reaching to lead off the inning on an error at second base, committed by Justin Appleby, but he makes up for it with a very nice play up the middle, stabbing the ground ball and getting the out at first base to prevent more damage on the scoreboard. So it stays just a 1-run deficit for Milford, with Aiden Wild leading things off in the home half of the 5th.
2 back-to-back Wild pitches by Kelley-Rex, and he already has 2 hit batters, one of which is Wild, who's up to bat now.
It's one hard to shortstop. Nice grab by Candialis, but his throw will pull the first baseman off the bag, and Wild will reach. Candialis very frustrated with himself at shortstop, made the nice play going across his body to keep that ball on the infield, but then the throw to first base was short. Van Vliet had to come out in front of the bag to field it, and no chance to get Wild, who of course runs well. So not exactly the cleanest game defensively for Attleboro, as that is now their 4th error. We've seen 5 in total in the game. The leadoff runner on for Milford now ahead of Tyler Almeida, and he takes a called strike. Almeida so far today has walked and popped out. Wild with a lead. Doesn't go as Almeida waves and misses. In a 2-strike hole now.
Wild yet again starting off first.
That pitch missing outside. A good take by Almeida with 2 strikes.
Seems like Keller was trying to do a little bit of a side throw right then and there.
Now 1-2 pitch, Wild goes. The pitch is low. It skips away towards the backstop, and Wild likely would have had the base stolen anyway, but uncontested as the ball got away from Dakota Kirby. So with no outs, Milford with a runner in scoring position. Milford has stranded 7 runners in this game. And now a high chopper down the first base line, but that kicks foul. Both of these teams in need of wins. Attleboro looking to break out of a 3-game losing streak. Milford at 1-7 on the season, wanting to start to pile some wins together in hopes of keeping themselves in contention for a playoff spot. The next one into Almeida is driven in the air out to right field deep. Racing back is the right fielder Sam Larkin, and he is eventually able to track it down. Wild tags at second base, advances to third. That one hit very hard by Almeida, but Larkin with good speed able to track it down deep and right. So 1 out, but Wild able to advance now to third base.
Good contact made by Almeida right there. Putting a runner now at third, helping him out.
It's by far the hardest hit ball we've seen all day, and it ends up going as an out. Thought that had a chance to sneak over Larkin's head, but he was able to read it well right off the bat. Using good speed to close and make the play. But Milford with the tying run now standing at third base, and Matt Nickerson at the plate. Nickerson sends one slowly towards the mound. Wild frozen in his tracks as Kelleher looks in his direction before firing to first base to get the out there. So Nickerson now 0 for 3.
Luke Rosen now taking the plate.
Rosa last came to bat in the bottom of the 3rd inning with 2 in scoring position, but ended up striking out to end the scoring chance. Takes a first pitch strike here against his counterpart, Ian Hamill-Kelleher. Looking to escape this inning with the Attleboro lead still intact. Milford in the midst of another 1-run ball game. This has been a storyline that has played out many times so far on the season for the Scarlet Hawks.
Keller already with a couple wild pitches in the inning, and a few in the game just leaving the catcher's mitt, so it would not be uncommon for it to bounce off and in Wild another wild pitch score.
Two balls and 1 strike the count. Excuse me, 1 ball and 2 strikes the count, and that one hits the outside part of the plate for a called strike 3, and that will end the inning. And once again, Lucas Rosa storms off back to the dugout in frustration as he strikes out to end the inning. Milford strands the runner at third base, and you can make it now 8 runners left on the bases through 5 innings for the Scarlet Hawks. We play on to inning number 6 when we come back next. It is still 2-1 in favor of the Attleboro Bombardiers here on Milford TV. Several changes for the Scarlet Hawks as we enter in to the top half of the 6th inning. We'll start on the pitcher's mound where Nick Marcolini takes over after Luke Rosa went the first 5 innings. Marcolini taking over here in the top of the 6th, dealing ball 1 into the number 7 hitter, James Weir. A series of corresponding defensive changes. We'll get to those as the inning progresses.
And a pitching change seems to be what the Hawks needed right about now. Luke Rosa pitching very well through the first 5 innings, but you could start to see that maybe even the heat or just the durability of him starts to increase as a lot of pitches were thrown in the past 2 innings beforehand.
The next pitch from Marcolini is in for a strike. James Weir, Gavin Wildrick, and Jason Weir, the three batters expected against Marcolini. The lefty reliever's next pitch is high. Luke Rosa does remain in the game now, takes over at third base. That shifts Colby Pyers to second. Next pitch on the way, it's hit high in the air and foul ground down the right field line. Aiden Wild going as far as he can. But that ball drifting beyond the playing surface. So trying to spy the outfield defensive changes for Milford. We can't tell you that Matt Swanson has taken over in right field. Trying to get a look at center and left. We'll give you those as soon as we can spy a uniform number. Meanwhile, James Weir takes ball 4. He will trot down to first base. So Marcolini gives up a walk to the first batter he faces. First pitch strike poured into the DH Gavin Wildrick, who reached on an infield base hit in his last at bat. And now the runner caught off of first base. Here comes the throw down to second, and out is James Weir. So caught leaning at first base was Weir, and that is certainly what can happen with a lefty on the mound. A much different scenario than what played out over the first 5 innings. These runners so accustomed to taking off on the first move of Luke Rosa. A little bit different with the lefty reliever out there, and we're getting caught in the rundown and eventually the tag applied at second base. So the caught stealing clears the bases, as now this ball is driven foul off to the left and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes now on Wildrick. And the next pitch in for a called strike 3. Painting the outside part of the plate. First strikeout for Marcolini, the 4th for Milford pitching. And it's 2 outs and the base is empty now here in the 6th. And that will bring up number 9 hitter Jason Weir, who is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. A cue shot foul hit hard towards the first base dugout. Glancing in and out of the visitors' dugout, gathered in eventually by Attleboro head coach Matt Bosch. Here's an 0-1 pitch, and it's grounded foul off towards the backstop, and Marcolini now 1 pitch away from what would be a fast inning. Weir digs back in on the right side. Here is the 0-2 pitch, and this one hit in the air to first base, and Aiden Wild no problem hauling that one in for out number 3. So in the end, just 3 batters come to the plate here in the 6th inning. The caught stealing certainly working to Milford's advantage. No runs cross the plate for Attleboro. We head on to the home half of inning number 6. It is still a 2-1 ball game. Milford down by a run. They will be at the plate when we come back next here on Milford TV. Justin Appleby leading off the bottom half of the 6th inning, taking a pitch just outside for ball 1. So that answers the question for the outfield alignment change, as Appleby sends this one out into center field. Back at first was Espinal, now in a few steps to make the catch. So Appleby taking over in center field for Marcolini, who came in to pitch a scoreless inning of relief. Appleby now 0 for 3, or excuse me, 0 for 2 on the day with the sacrifice.
Matt Swanson, the right fielder for the Scarlet Hawks, takes his second bat appearance. Is it second?
This is his third trip to the plate on the day. He's 1 for 1 on the day, a single back in the second inning, then credited with a sacrifice bunt back in the fourth. And now hits one in the air out to left field. This is deep, well over the head of James Weir, and it will be extra bases for Matt Swanson, who will cruise into second base with a 1-out double. So finally, Milford able to get one over the head of this Attleboro outfield. That one hit very well. You knew immediately on contact that was going to drift beyond the reach of Weir and left. And so a 1-out double for Matt Swanson. Started the day as the designated hitter, moved out into the field to take over in right last inning. And now stands in scoring position ahead of Marcolini. Marcolini takes one on the inner part of the plate for a called strike 1. 1 out and the tying run in scoring position in the 6th. Milford looking for their second win on the year, a pickoff play on down at second base. You can see Attleboro trying to confuse Swanson down there at second. It was the shortstop starting to creep in, but the second baseman ultimately came in to field the pickoff throw from the pitcher. And Swanson able to get back to the bag.
Foul tip by Marcolini right there.
Nothing to the count on the number 9 hitter. The next pitch is grounded to shortstop. The runner takes off for third. Bit of a double clutch for the shortstop, Candialis, and now throws it away, and in from third base to score comes Matt Swanson, and this game once again tied up now at 2-2.
Candialis is just not having his day out at shortstop. That is 2 wild pitches past first base, multiple bobbles, and he's just not faring well with anything that comes towards him.
You could see he was just not comfortable out there. A fairly routine ground ball, but he double clutched it and then just uncorked a wild throw. So another error on the day. That is the 5th Attleboro error. And it really hurts them as Milford is able to bring the tying run home, and now they have the go-ahead run in scoring position, as Marcolini was able to advance all the way down to second base as Swanson came in from third. And some buzz now around Pheno Field, and also in that third base dugout where many of the Milford bench players now are standing. As we see another pickoff attempt down at second base. Marcolini able to dive back into the bag. So Milford continuing to scratch and claw in this game. Tied at 2 here in the 6th. The pitch into Shaver is a called strike. Shaver looking for his first hit today, a ground out, a foul out, and a walk has been the day so far for the Milford leadoff hitter. Here's the pitch, and this one is hit hard out to center field. Ranging towards left is Espinal. He makes the catch.
Keeps Marcolini at second. And now 2 outs with a man still on second.
It was hard hit by Shaver, but again, hanging up long enough for the Attleboro center fielder to make the play. And now Coach Bosch out of the first base dugout to have a conversation with Ian Hamill-Kelleher, the starting pitcher who remains in the game. He's thrown a lot of pitches at this point. Now he's through 5 2/3. Pitched around a leadoff error last inning, keeping the tying run at third base. His defense at times has faltered behind him. So all things considered, he has done a good job of keeping Attleboro positioned well in the game. After a few words with his head coach, he will now face Colby Pyers with the go-ahead run at second base. Now the pitch in the dirt. The runner takes off. Here's the throw to third base. It's not in time. A little bit of a gamble there from Marcolini. He didn't go initially, but takes off once he saw that pitch in the dirt. It did not glance very far away from the catcher at all, but nonetheless, Marcolini able to reach third base safely. So now Milford with the tying run very close at third base, or excuse me, the go-ahead run. And the 1-0 to Pyers, who takes a big cut, but comes up empty, and the count evens at a ball and a strike. Pyers 0 for 3. Here's the pitch. Grounded to shortstop underneath the glove of the third baseman, but Candialis there to back it up, and this time an accurate throw over to first base is there in time to end the inning. So Milford strands the go-ahead run at third base, but they are able to bring in the tying run. Matt Swanson getting the rally started with a double, eventually comes around to score on the errant throw by Candialis. So again, we are tied now 2-2 between Milford and Attleboro. In the late stages of this one, we head to the 7th inning when we come back next here on Milford TV. Milford 2 and Attleboro 2 as we advance to the top half of the 7th inning. Attleboro grabbing the first run of this game in the top half of the 4th inning. Milford able to come back to tie it in the bottom half of the 4th. Attleboro taking a 2-1 lead with a run in the 5th, and Milford scoring an unearned run in the 6th inning. Both of Milford's runs have been unearned. Attleboro with 5 errors on the day. But tied up here as Attleboro will bring the top of their order to the plate against Nick Marcolini now in his 2nd inning of relief. Luke Rosa now erased from the decision after Milford was able to tie it up. Pitch into Sam Larkin is sent foul weakly over towards the first base dugout.
Keeping the count at 0-2.
Sam Larkin followed by Corey McKenna and Alvaro Espinal. The next pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3.
Takes only 4 pitches from Marcolini, but beautifully placed and an easy strikeout.
His 2nd since coming into the game. Gets the leadoff batter. And that now brings up McKenna, who has grounded out to third base, popped out to left, and walked.
A little bit high and right there from Marcolini, pushing the count to 1-0.
Wind up and the pitch. And this one is hit back up the middle. Takes a tricky hop, but Pyers stays with it, throws to first. He gets the out. 4-3 on the ground out, and it is 2 up and 2 down for the Bombardiers, and that leaves it up to Alvaro Espinal, who has 1 hit on the day. He singled back in the 4th inning. Eventually came around to score on that passed ball. But at the time, gave Attleboro a 1-0 lead. Game now tied at 2. And first pitch swinging, this one is sent out into left center field. No one's going to get to that one. It drops in for a base hit, a wide turn for Espinal, but he will retreat back to first.
A little bit of a bobble going on at left field. And right into the crevice between center and left, and overall places it nicely. Managed him to get him to first.
So it keeps it going for Candialis, and you know that John Candialis wants nothing more than to atone for the error last inning. A wild throw that allowed Milford to bring the tying run to the plate. Takes a pitch inside, has to jackknife out of the way.
Intentionally walked at his last plate appearance.
Lead at first base for Espinal. He doesn't go as the pitch is in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike count with 2 outs and the runner aboard at first. And Marcolini trying to keep Espinal close to the bag. The lefty back to the set. And the pitch, waved at and missed. One and two now, the count on the Attleboro captain. Here's the pitch, that misses up and away, evening the count at 2-2. Milford hoping to preserve the tie. And looking ahead to the bottom half of the 7th inning, they have the middle of their order bats coming to the plate, Wild, Almeida, and Nickerson. Here is the 2-2 pitch, and it's hit hard through the right side of the infield for a base hit. Espinal touches second base. He will motor right on to third. The throw will go all the way to third base, and that will allow Candialis to advance to second. So a poor decision out there from Swanson, sending that throw into third instead of to the cutoff man. So instead of runners at the corners, it ends up 2 in scoring position. Counted as a single for Candialis. He takes second on the throw.
Bring up junior Troy Van Valley now.
So after the first 2 outs were recorded quickly, back-to-back base hits by the 3 and 4 hitters, Espinal and Candialis, and now both find themselves in scoring position, looking to bring home some insurance for Attleboro. Or I should say, allowing Attleboro to retake the lead with the game currently tied at 2. So a key spot here for Marcolini. Can he pitch out of the jam? Delivers in a strike to Van Valley, who does have an RBI to his credit on the afternoon. That came on a sacrifice fly back in the 5th. Here's the pitch, misses outside.
Count now at 2-1. And if Attleboro is able to get away with a run or 2 in this inning, puts Milford in a very critical position heading to the bottom of the 7th.
3 balls and a strike now, so things going the other way in a hurry now for Marcolini. Back-to-back hits given up, and now in danger of walking Van Valley to load the bases. Here's his 3-1 pitch, and that's in for a strike.
Puts it at a 3-2 full count with Dakota Kirby warming up.
Van Valley digs back in on the right side. The payoff pitch, and it's popped up. Playable and foul ground for Aiden Wild, drifting towards the warning track. He's there to make the catch for the out that retires the side. So the 2 2-out hits for Attleboro proved to be harmless. It remains a 2-2 tie. Milford hoping for the opportunity to walk off with the win if they can produce a run in the bottom half of this 7th inning. We'll see if they can do it when we come back next here on Milford TV. Knotted up at 2 into the bottom of the 7th inning. Milford trying to gut out a win here at home. It would be just their 2nd on the season. They have the big bats coming to the plate, starting with the senior captain, Aiden Wild. Aiden today has been hit by a pitch. He's reached on an infield single, and he's also reached on an error. And starts off taking a look at a fastball on the outside part of the plate for a called strike 1 against Ian Hamill-Kelleher, the starting pitcher for Attleboro, still out there. The righty's 0-1 pitch drifts high. This game has been a grind. Offense has been at a premium. Wild lays off that pitch. Jumps ahead in the count, 2-1. We have not seen a run scored off of a hit today. Attleboro getting their 2 runs on a passed ball and a sacrifice fly. Milford scoring their runs on a wild pitch and a throwing error, as Aiden Wild is hit with a pitch for the 2nd time today. That one getting him off the uniform number on the back.
3 hit by pitches by Keller. One coming off of Shaver and two now off of Wild. None of them have been intentional, but definitely could start to see that Keller is starting to get a little bit tired, considering it pitched through 7 innings.
And now first pitch swinging, a line drive out towards the gap in right center field, but a sliding catch made by Alvaro Espinal. Now the throw back to first base, Wild able to get back in there. That looked like a gap shot for sure, but Espinal able to close in and make a sliding catch.
And what could have been an at-risk for the game right there. Beautiful dive.
Yeah, that's a do-or-die play for sure out of Alvaro Espinal out in center field. If he mistimes that slide and the ball gets past him, Aiden Wild is likely coming around to score. He was already at the second base bag. When Espinal made the catch, he had to hustle to get back to first to tag up. So
wow.
Excellent contact by Tyler Almeida, but he ends up as out number 1, robbed out in center field.
Wild making a good decision to keep his eyes on the ball, in fact, instead of just deciding to round the bases. And halfway about between first and second, and that could have ended up being a double play if he didn't get back in time.
Nickerson now at the dish. He sends one out into left center field. And that one's going to drop down for a base hit. Wild hustling around the bases. Here's the throw into third, and Wild is going to be out at third base. Coach Dion waving him on all the way. Wild with a feet-first slide, but the tag applied by Jason Ware. Wild out at third. Nickerson ends up at second base. That'll likely be counted as a single for Nickerson. Milford once again trying to make something happen on the bases, but Wild thrown out at third. Milford with the winning run in scoring position, but now with 2 outs.
Very good outfield plays by Attleboro right there, making a strong throw to third, and again that Alvaro Espinal catch. And they're gonna intentionally walk Luke Rosa, bringing out Justin Appleby now, with runners in second and first.
So we've talked about the shaky defense of Attleboro with the 5 errors, but their outfield really making up for it here in the 7th inning with the dazzling catch by Espinal and then a terrific relay throw in to cut down Wild at third base.
Well, there hasn't been a lot of outfield plays, considering that a lot of the balls have been hit towards shortstop, third, second. So definitely getting their time to shine right now in the bottom of the 7th.
Can Justin Appleby come through here? He starts off ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Appleby, a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd, reached on an error and scored in the 4th, and then popped out to center field in the 6th. 2 on and 2 down in the 7th as this ball is hit to shortstop, played into the midsection by Candialis. He goes the short route to second base to get the force play there, and that will end the inning. And what ends up being a very bizarre inning for the Scarlet Hawks, making a lot of loud contact, a lot of base runners, but no runs cross the plate, and we are headed to bonus baseball here at Pheno Field. We will see the top of the 8th inning when we return next here on Milford TV. Through 7 innings, Milford has stranded 11 runners on the bases. 2 runners each in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 7th innings. Single runner stranded in the 4th through the 6th. Opportunities quite literally in every single inning for the Scarlet Hawks, but unable to bring the game-winning run home in that 7th. So we play on to the top half of the 8th. Back out there for a 3rd inning of work is Marcolini, and he fires in strike 1 to Dakota Kirby, the Attleboro catcher. Sends one off the end of the bat, foul to fall behind, 0-2. So this game surpassing the 2-hour mark. Still plenty of sunshine splashing across the field here as we get into extra frames. And the 0-2 pitch on the way from Marcolini. It's sent in the air out to right field. Settling underneath and making the catch is Matt Swanson for out number 1. 1 out and the base is empty for James Weir, the left fielder. And he hits one hard to the left side, a diving attempt by Rosa, but that gets past him. And it'll be a base hit for Weir, his first of the game. Now 1 for 2. Also has a pair of walks to his credit. And so a 1 out base runner for the Bombardiers ahead of the DH, Gavin Wildrick. He's 1 for 3 on the afternoon. And a pickoff check over at first base. The throw coming in low, bobbled by Wild. Right back out to a lead for Wildrick. As the pitch misses outside. Runner at first base with 1 out. As the lefty comes to the set. The pitch misses up and away, falling behind the number 8 hitter. And that pitch not close. The runner takes off for second base. The throw from Almeida was wild. Pyers having to come away from the second base bag to keep that ball from going out into center. The go-ahead run now in scoring position off yet another Attleboro stolen base. That pitch in for a strike. Wildrick struck out looking his last time up. That came back in the 6th inning. And now takes that pitch low for ball 4. That's the second walk for Nick Marcolini since coming into the game. Lucas Rosa walking 6 through his 5 innings of work.
Almeida giving a quick talk to Marcolini right there. Trying to keep everything in check with the men on first and second. Yet another man in scoring position today for Attleboro, and it's been the same story for both teams. Plenty of opportunities.
Timeout now called on the Attleboro side. It looks like we'll have a pinch runner at first base.
Junior Mason Hoole now taking first base as a pinch runner.
Taking over for Wildrick. Number 9 hitter Jason Weir at the plate. He swings and loops a pop-up over towards the left side of the infield. Rosa makes the catch. And that's good for out number 2. Keeps the runners at first and second. Leaves the inning up to Sam Larkin. Larkin out of the leadoff spot today has flown out, walked, reached on an error, and struck out. 2-2 game in the 8th inning. The go-ahead run in scoring position as this ball is flared out to center field. And there to just barely make the catch is Justin Appleby. Bit of an adventure there at the end, but he hangs on for out number 3. And Attleboro strands a pair of runners. We head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Once again, Milford with a chance to walk off with the win. We'll see the bottom of the 8th inning begin next here on Milford TV. 2 runs, 6 hits, an error for Milford. 2 runs, 5 hits, 5 errors for Attleboro. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning. Closely played contest from start to finish between Milford and Attleboro. Going into extras. Milford with Matt Swanson, Nick Marcolini, and Matt Shaver due up in the 8th inning, and the starting pitcher Ian Hamill-Kelleher still out there on the mound. Looks like he was certainly tiring last inning. An adventurous frame that started with a hit by pitch and took some sparkling defensive plays in the outfield for Attleboro to keep Milford off the scoreboard. Swanson well out in front of that pitch, a swing and a miss.
Count now at 1-2, and his last bat appearance, very high hit double. Crushed it out to left field.
Now sends one off the end of the bat, foul. Swanson with a multi-hit game, he's been productive. A single all the way back in the second, a sacrifice bunt in the fourth, and then the double last time up. Now skies one just behind second base. It's Corey McKenna who makes the catch. So 1 out in the inning. The base is empty for Nick Marcolini. First pitch of the at-bat misses high for ball one. Marcolini reached on an infield single in the second inning. Also reached on an error in the sixth. So 1 for 3 overall on the day. Jumps ahead in the count 2-0. Milford looking for a base runner, trying to get that winning run on. Now a called strike brings the count to 2-1. Next pitch is hit foul. That ball will drift beyond the field of play out towards the trees down the left field line. Trees slowly starting to bloom here around Pheno Field. So we finally experienced some spring and summer weather over these last few weeks after what was a very cold, very damp, at times snowy month of April. We flipped the calendar to May, and now the warm weather has arrived.
Seemed like it skipped right over spring and went right into summer.
That was certainly the case today. Temperature at 89 degrees when we started this game, back around 4 o'clock. It's cooled off slightly since then with the steady breeze, but only slightly. Temperatures still registering at 86.
Marcolini keeping his at-bat alive. Another foul ball. Remains a full count.
Next pitch is tapped foul to the backstop. Marcolini just able to get a piece of it.
And that might have come and hit right around the camera yet again.
Glancing off of one of the support poles for the backstop. A tough at bat continues now for Nick Marcolini. And takes a pitch inside for ball 4, so he works the walk. And so Marcolini, who would stand to get the win in this game if Milford could push a run across, he now represents the winning run at first base. Coach Bosch out of the first base dugout, and we'll see if this is finally the day for Ian Hamill-Kelleher. Nealon spotting John Candialis warming up in the bullpen in between innings. So we'll see if he's called upon here. Right now, a conversation ongoing between Coach Bosch and his starting pitcher. You just wonder how much more rope he would be given, and indeed, he'll come out of the game here. So Candialis in from shortstop to take over on the mound. We'll see if Kelleher comes back out of the dugout to take a defensive position or if he will be completely removed from the game. And indeed he does. He grabs the infield glove, and so he will come back out here. We will see what the defensive alignment ends up being now with Kelleher factored in, but we will see Candialis take over on the mound. We'll pause for the pitching change. A 2-2 tie. Milford with 1 out and the winning run at first base. More action to come next here on Milford TV. So John Candialis takes over on the pitcher's mound. Replaces Ian Hamill-Kelleher, who went the first 7 1/3. Allowed 2 runs, neither of them earned on 6 hits. He walked 3, struck out just 1. He is responsible for the runner at first base. That is Nick Marcolini, who walked. Now back up to the top spot in the Milford lineup, Matt Shaver. He is 0 for 3 with a walk. Check over at first base. Marcolini back with a dive. Milford has recorded 2 outs on the base paths today. That included having a potential runner thrown out at the plate. Runner taking off for second base. The pitch misses outside. Here's the throw down to second. It tails off towards the shortstop side of the bag. Marcolini in with a steal, so Milford now with the winning run in scoring position.
Smart decision by Marcolini to put himself into scoring position. And definitely for both teams now starting to become a consideration, using that length and speed to their advantage, taking every base possible.
Next pitch into Shaver is a called strike. Colby Pyers waiting on deck, and then Wild. With 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's the pitch. And that is taken for a called strike. Shaver trying to hang in there. Next pitch from Candialis is hit back up the middle, ranging with the slide behind the second base bag is McKenna. And the throw to first base is not in time. Shaver beats it out. McKenna sliding feet first behind the second base bag to keep that ball on the infield. That likely saved the game, at least for now, keeping Marcolini from scoring. Nearly got the out at first base, but Shaver's able to beat it out with the infield single, and now runners at the corners for Milford with 1 down. The winning run is at third base.
Good hustle by Shaver right there, able to put a step ahead right before the throw, getting to first.
Pyers now pops 1 foul. That clears the backstop. Drifts over the press box, goes way out of play.
And even just a sacrifice pop fly. Decent distance might end the game right here.
Pyers trying to find one that he can drive. Runner takes off for second base as this ball is hit in the air out to left field. Settling underneath is Ware. The runner tags at third base. Here comes the throw to the plate. The tag is not in time. Sliding in safely with the game-winning run is Nick Marcolini, and Milford storms the field. They win it on a walk-off sacrifice fly by Colby Pyers, just barely. The throw from James Ware tailing off just towards first base, and that was enough for Marcolini to slide in with the run that seals the win for the Scarlet Hawks. In 8 innings. They defeat Attleboro by a final score of 3-2. This was a battle. You felt like this game was very important to 2 teams trying to get their seasons on track, and for Milford, they're able to prevail, so they grab their 2nd victory of the season. They improved to 2-7. Milford will look to get a boost of momentum from this game when they're next in action. That'll come on the road this Friday at Mansfield, so a tough game for Milford there. As we wrap up our broadcast, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew, our director for the game today, John Giacomuzzi, and our camera operator, Rob O'Keefe. And for Neelan Reisman, I am Tim Coette. That final score, one final time in 8 innings. Milford able to defeat Attleboro by a final score of 3-2. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.